Hello everybody and welcome to another Transformers knockoff review thanks to the team over at TF Direct. Today I'm taking a look at the latest knockoff from the MP10. This is the MP10U. U standing for Ultra Magnus or White Optimus Prime. As you can see, he comes in these beautiful brown shipper boxes, and through TF Direct you do get the option to order with or without the trailer. And here we have him out of his plastic prison. Now, thankfully, he doesn't suffer the vastly strange defects that his MP10 counterpart did, such as the wobbly foot. The head is still a bit kind of nodding dog on this guy, but that being said, all the other joints seem to be pretty nicely done, and it doesn't have that weird, waxy coating over the top. Before we actually carry on with the figure and the trailer, let's take a look at his accessories. He comes with your matrix of leadership, again done in a die cast, and a very bright blue there, trying to catch the light. There we go. Pretty much same old. Let's just pass the matrix on to Magnus. His gun, now this is the weakest part of the entire figure. This does have a very kind of dusty layer on top. It's almost like it's been painted and it's not been dried correctly, and then it's got covered in kind of dust. It's hard to see, but if you look, I put my finger on there and I can actually leave my fingerprint, and the handle, the paint applications on that is disgustingly thick. I mean, I can't paint at all, but I reckon I could probably do a better job than what they've done with this. Don't get me wrong, I mean, everything folds up still the way that it should. It's just this section here is very tight because of that extra layer of paint. We get a very nice translucent kind of teal, I guess, for his Energon axis. This is actually really nice. I like this colour. It's not that far off the plastic used in the crotch area. Again, if you've got an MP10, you'll know what to expect. These on the KOs, however, are exceptionally sharp. We get a white variation of roller with a kind of translucent purple button on top and a silver cockpit. Obviously this is exclusive to the trailer. Everything again works as it should. Everything still folds down. Nothing seems to be untoward. These do feel very light though. I mentioned this with my MP10 review. These are probably the most telltale signs that you've got a KO. These just feel ridiculously light in comparison to the official product. What KO would be complete without a awfully painted Spike. His arms aren't pinned fantastically. They've got a bit of a gap between the shoulders and the torso. His hair is kind of all over the place. It looks to me like they've kind of painted over the original with this kind of metallic sheen, very similar to what we got with the KO version of the Shattered Glass figure, although he was done in a very nice purple and his paint applications were actually a lot better. This guy, much the same as the Magnus gun, he's got quite a thick layer over him, but if you hold him back here, he looks absolutely fine. And he's kind of one of my Diaclone drivers. That's how I have him. I have all of these guys in the vehicles, and they are my Diaclone drivers. And well, officially this isn't a Magnus, so he can be a Diaclone Prime. And much like the other rollers, he can carry the Magnus or Prime's rifle. Now let's have a look at the Magnus trailer. This is the first time I've had a trailer like this for Magnus. It's done in this kind of gloss white. Paint applications on this are slightly cleaner than one I got with my MP10. There's less blurring around the edges of the Autobot symbols, etc. And this is a really nice alternative to Takara's latest offering with their 711 figure with the big 7-Eleven logo. This doesn't have that. This just has the Autobot logo. They were that close to giving us a MP10U, but no, sculpt is the same as we get with the other versions of the trailer. We do get rubber tyres, albeit they are a little bit wobbly, and we get the painted tyre underneath. I kind of thought that would have been painted up black. That's just lazy. That is, that they've painted up the whole of the trailer. They could have really done that black. Putting the trailer into repair bay mode, again we get kind of a half-cut version with paint in some places but not everywhere we would expect them. There doesn't really appear to be any rhyme or reason to the paints. The crane does look nice. I like the translucent plastic they've used on that, and it actually looks really good in white. Why none of these have incorporated the missile firing function that we got with the original G1 Optimus Prime, I don't know. We then get silver paint applications on the base piece. We can flip open the chair and we get silver on that chair, and again we get the silver on this arm section, and flipping up the chair we get silver on the actual seat piece. I would have liked more paint in there, I guess. Maybe a little bit of silver along the dashboard there, just to highlight the control panel, much like we got with the KO Takara version. And last but by no means least, we do get a little bit of silver just underneath the crane arm. We do still have that weapon storage on the inside of the trailer. You know what, I always forget to move these tabs down in repair bay mode. That's just me, I always forget. Now the axe only just fits in because of those luscious curls we've got on those spikes. I could probably heat those up, I'd imagine, and they may just sit a little bit straighter, but yeah, it's designed to go in there, but it kind of does. Right, now let's take a look at MP10U himself. I'm trying not to be blinded by my love of this kind of colour for him. The eyes are nice and bright red. As you can see, we do have that same nodding dog thing going on. I've been informed that if we undo this screw up here, it's to do with this not sitting correctly on that neck piece. So we can undo the screw, take the head off, and basically shave down the neck so it fits in better. Apparently that will rectify that problem. But those are really, really piercing red eyes. I do like those. The paint on the mask, etc., it's a nice even layer. There's nice silver on that face, and the crest is nice as well. I like the fact you could swap these out. You can chop and change with your MP10s, and you can switch out for the different crests and different eyes. I do still have a small gap on the inside of my chest. My wiper is somewhat warped. It will not stay back down. I've been trying to move this back, but to no avail. And I have been informed that the Autobot logos are in fact glued on. So if you wanted to remove it, you possibly could, but you may cause damage in the process. Smokestacks are meant to be down, but as you can see, mine, the paint is just caked on, and it really does need a good, look at that, perfect. Yes, so as you can see, it's kind of caked on there. Something I've only just this minute noticed when playing around with this figure again. Having it this close on camera, it really has helped me. I think I know why this one doesn't suffer from that kind of waxy, horrible texture that my KO Takara Prime did. It's a different version of the mould. This has the older chest grille piece on it, much like we got with the old shattered glass Optimus Prime. This has the new KO version, so it's actually a different version, which explains a lot to me. I honestly hadn't even realised. Do you see what I mean? This has the correct configuration on the grill, and that's about everything good this one has going for it. And this one has the wider gap section here. Everybody keeps asking me about the Optimus Prime and what version is it. Officially, I believe this is like a version 3. It's done by a different manufacturer. If you can find a version 2 of the Optimus Prime, they are very scarce now, but they do come loaded with lots of different paint applications. I know Rocket Punch Army done a very good video on them, and I think Sam over at Bots and Bits, I think he knows quite a bit about the primes as well. So just shoot them a message if you are struggling to distinguish between these versions of Optimus. But yes, by the looks of things, these are a different version, which may explain why this one doesn't feel like junk. Speaking of junk, let's start on Magnus's crotch. We'll go down. We've got some nice silver thighs, not perfectly done. There's small gaps and some small kind of markings where I imagine where the sprues were cut. The joints are nice and tight on him. We do get a small gap on the shin there if you get right in close. Love the vents on this as well. Really nicely done. We've got some silver on the inside of the leg. The ankle moves quite nicely. Now, if you have problems with your ankles, like I did with my MP10, it is actually very easy to tighten this joint. There's 4 screws. Now, these on Magnus, I have tried to undo them. I don't need to, but they are exceptionally tight. But once you undo these 4 screws, you can lift this piece off, and this piece here, that can just move up, and there's a screw right on the back behind here. Just tighten that screw, just need half a turn, and it will tighten that foot right up and just put it back together again. The only bit that should or may fall out is this little grey piece here, which is the button that we push to compress the legs. So just be mindful when taking the legs apart, but if you have the right screwdriver, it should work nice and easy. Famous last words. We have lovely, really nice teal paint on the toes, and at the tips of the toes we've got that very nice translucent green. It's a great use of the translucent on this guy. Opening up the chest cavity, I would have liked some more paint on the inside there. It's nice that we've got this chrome grill, but I don't know, maybe just a little bit of shading or some silver or something in there would make that just kind of shine a little bit more. We can bring the matrix in. I can never remember which way the matrix goes up. Is it this way? I think it is. I always see this Magnus as the equivalent of Optimus Prime's Orion Pax. This is Magnus on the battlefield. He was going out and about, you know, he's fighting. I mean, he's just a soldier Prime. And yeah, he gets damaged and they kind of rebuild him. Prime's his mate. He's like, oh yes, let's rebuild him. Let's make him big and strong so I can give him the Matrix when I die. And yeah, and that's why they build him into that kind of larger armor. That's my little storytelling done for the day. That's how I roleplay. For those of you who are new to the MP10 mold, there may be some of you out there. The head can rotate left and right. He can tilt up and down a little bit too freely. The antennae do move. The neck also pops up and down on this hinge, which is part of the transformation, but I'm calling that articulation as well. We can bring the arms outwards on this very stiff joint, which allows us to bring them up. Oh, I hate that on a figure, I really do. And we can go backwards and forth. We can go all the way around. We have a friction joint on that elbow and a friction joint on the upper bicep. We have wrist rotation. We have a pinned selection of fingers. The trigger finger does have an additional piece of articulation and does bend quite freely. I haven't managed to pop this finger off yet. That is a common fault with the Prime. His finger does tend to pop off. We have a nice swivel on that waist, albeit a little bit of resistance kind of around this back area here. Coming down to the legs, we have a ratchet forwards and ratchet backwards. Friction joint out to the side. Oh, that's horrible. But at the same time, very stiff. We have an upper thigh rotation. We have a rotation at the knee. Nice articulation on that knee joint. Come down to the feet. They pivot out left and right. And we can go forwards and backwards. And we do have additional articulation on the toe. I think it's just that colour scheme. It's the collection of kind of that teal. I'm using the word teal. Is that even teal? I don't know. It's kind of aquamarine, bluey green. It's a collection of that with the white and the blue coupled together with that MP10 articulation and appearance, and it's a combination that really does work. For those of you who'd like to see him alongside the official Masterpiece Ultra Magnus, they do look very good together. I've seen a couple of people just take out the white cab section on Magnus, just unplug it, and you can have this Magnus kind of climbing in and out of his armour. That's nice. It's a nice touch. I personally love having Magnus done as he is in the show. I like that Ultra Magnus, but at the same time I completely get why people like this one. This was kind of the toy we got as a kid. And of course here we have him alongside Rodimus Prime. Now that's a good look. For those of you who like to store the gun in his backpack section, it does successfully go in there, although it does keep wanting to spring back outwards because it doesn't really lock into place, hence the reason I store it in the trailer cab. Start off with the hands closed, flip down the tab section underneath the hands, rotate the hands around and bring this tab back up, extend the smokestacks, bring down the ladder section, compress the bicep joint, untab the grills from the front of the leg, bring those down, tab those into the side. The gas tank section moves out of the way, and these covers flip around and go to the bottom of the foot. We can then compress the toes together. To compress the legs, press this button at the rear, and that allows us to compress it all the way down into the thigh. If for some reason this doesn't quite press in enough, or you're struggling with the legs, all you have to do is just undo those same screws that I aforementioned earlier on. That then allows this section to move a little bit more freely. You then push the Magnus's legs together. Oompa Loompa Prime! The feet are on sliders. They slide into the center and can tab together-ish. Open up Magnus's chest on both sides, untap the grill from the torso and move this piece out. Rotate the lower torso and fully collapse that piece into the grill. Move this piece from the back of the arm and then rotate these side pod sections downwards and then bring them all the way around to the front. We can then bring this front piece and the matrix retaining chamber outwards, bring this entire piece down, and that's going to push over the waist joint and click into place. We can move Magnus's head down into that void, and then bringing the arms around to the rear, bringing the biceps in. We can then collapse that arm joint, slide these in to the waist, and there's a groove just on either side of that waist, and if you look, the back of the arms will just tab into that groove. We can now come around to the front of the truck and just tidy up these front sections of the cab, unfold the lights, bring these up, push together and just bring these over, and they are going to hold this front piece into place both at the grille and on the front of the cab. Slide the gas tanks along and they now tab into the side of the waist, and then just bring out those side view mirrors. And there we have Ultra Magnus in his truck mode. I do love that MP10 mold, although I am half expecting Hasbro to give us an MP10 kind of version 3 themselves, because the Hasbro and Takara masterpieces have really kind of strayed away from where they started with the MP10. They're now focusing on that animation accuracy, which I think is a good thing. It's a very mixed response from fans because it's minimal paint applications, etc. But that being said, this doesn't really scream animation accuracy. It's good, but it's not quite right. Wonder if they will release a version 3. I mean, I know the new Power of the Primes line has a fantastic looking leader class Optimus Prime in it, and an awesome looking Hot Rod or Rodimus Prime. Very much looking forward to getting those. I'm assuming you guys don't mind if I review official stuff every now and again. He does roll. It's pretty much the same as what we've got with every MP10 in history. The wheels are nice. They have some nice kind of chrome rims. The rubber, again, is pretty good. There's no real degradation or anything on those yet, but only time will tell. Everything holds together pretty nicely. Nothing really wants to come unpegged. The windscreen, if anything, has become a little bit loose without all of the things to act as resistance. But all in all, it is a very nice truck mode and does give me those very nostalgic feels. For a quick truck mode comparison, I thought I'd do a couple more KOs. We have the Kubenbau oversized AD31. We have the Black Mamba oversized Voyager Optimus Prime, and we have the Wei Zhang oversized version of the Last Night Hound. So there we go. And here he is alongside some of the Masterpiece scaled vehicles. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Personally, this is far more appealing to me than the 711 version, but I know there are a lot of people out there that really don't like the idea of KOs. I mean, have they gone one step too far here in directly competing with a Takara release? Let me know what you all think. I've included a link in the description below which takes you through to TF Direct. Thanks again to the team over there for making this review possible, and until next time, for myself and the MP10U and his trailer, thanks for watching. Goodbye.